All right, what's going on, guys? It okay. Looks like I'm missing the regular mic plug-in, so just give me a second while I plug that in. Okay, it might take a second to turn on. I'm not really sure how I sound right now, so that's why I want to plug it in. All right, there we go. Okay, it's gonna load up any second now. Okay, and it might stop. Let's see. Microphone ZU1. All right, let's try it now. La la la. Okay, good. It's working. All right. Okay, so we're gonna make this video. I want to talk about basically just make sure you put in the work so that way you don't forget the things that matter. And I'm talking about this because basically, I know I make a lot of videos about a lot of different things and different topics, and I'm kind of already at the end of my journey. I just got finished watching like Ryan Dice do this presentation, and he was talking about how it takes time to basically build your business, blah 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 blah, and you know there comes a time where eventually you don't really want to hear certain things anymore. You just want to hear like actionable information. And he wasn't talking to me. He was talking to regular people, right? And the reason why I brought that up is because he was talking about his life story, and he's talking about X, Y, and Z, right? That stuff matters to people. Okay, it's knowing that you came from nothing, knowing that you're just like them, and that you're going through something similar, right? But this is like one of his canned stories, right? Everybody, you got to have a couple of canned stories in the pocket in order to communicate with people and get your agenda across, okay? And essentially, what his video was about just taking action, right? And most people don't really learn how to take action because they're too afraid they're going to make a mistake, and that is basically conditioned into people on purpose. Okay, it's conditioned to people on purpose, right? When you're really thinking about entrepreneurship, what you're really thinking about is being a free thinking person. You're not really a slave anymore, right? And that's like the nice way to say it. And I hate to be a jerk, okay? But if you don't know how to take care of yourself, you don't know how to pay your bills, or you don't know how to generate income, and you don't know how to feed yourself, you don't know how to seed food, and you don't know how to change a tire, you don't know how to do that. You don't got to know everything, okay? But you need to know enough, right? And if you don't know how to do that, then essentially you have been properly indoctrinated into the system. Okay, you've been properly indoctrinated. You only have to learn one thing, and you can just be okay doing that one thing, right? That's they got you, right? And I was watching this other video the other day, and this guy, he brought these like native or aboriginal people from the Amazon or whatever. He brought them to Spain or somewhere, and basically he took them around the city, and they're basically exploring. It's really like a nice video, but he gets them to drink liquor, and he gets them to have hamburgers, and he gets them to do the things that typical people in society do, right? And you just kind of waste money buying random things like tables and desks, like you're not really going to use them all, but you still buy them anyway. And then they went to the sauna, they went to the pool, they jumped around in the pool, they did a lot of different things, right? And the only thing that they were, they're like, this is like too much. We just want to go back to the jungle or the Amazon or whatever, right? Because he said this is just like extra shit. Like you just sitting there, right? And don't get me wrong, the bed was comfy. They said the beds were comfy. They said that everything was fun and nice, but it was just too much for them, right? Because they used to walking around naked and stuff like that, right? So I'm saying this because at some point people don't really understand what happened. Okay, you're just a regular person minding your own business, and somebody grabbed you up and made you a slave, which is okay. I'm just telling you, what it is. All right, you guys got to know the game. Somebody made you into a slave, and they said, don't learn this, don't do this no more, don't like. They were doing their own stuff in the Amazon. They were like planting their own food, they're doing their own stuff. And over time, basically they told you not to learn how to take care of yourself. Don't pay attention to the sun, don't pay attention to the stars, don't pay attention to what's happening inside here, don't pay attention to how you feel. Just go to your job, go to school, follow the program, don't think, right? And people have done that, and their lives are miserable because of it, because they don't really know who themselves, they don't really know who they are, right? When you're really going down the business journey, what you're really talking about is rediscovering who you are as a person, because you pretty much brainwashed your entire life on how to not live naturally. Okay, that's what's really going on, right? And then you start to have the stuff like I talk about. Let's say Ryan Dice, where he basically talked about you got to get out there and do right, and that's something that should be basic, but it's because people have been properly brainwashed and abused so much their entire lives they have a problem with taking action, and it's not just because there can be clarity, there can be it can be a short thing, um and all this other stuff. Like the running a business is actually not really that difficult. It is not that hard. You do not need millions of dollars and all this other stuff. The hard part is that the brainwashing. Okay. And that's the game. The name of the game is to handicap you so that way you're made to participate in the government system versus doing your own thing. That's like the whole game, whether you know it or not, right? Even with the bullshit flock cameras and all the like talking about trans issues instead of actually like making money and lower taxes and stuff like that. Like you guys got to know the game. The whole game is to get you to participate in this illusion of what life is long enough so that way you keep the system going, right? You keep the system going. And if you are an entrepreneur or a small business owner, you're not really invested in the system because you can just avoid it. You're like, I run my own business. I'm good, right? I make my own money. I own my own house. I'm mind my own business. They can't do nothing to you. So they got to figure out rules now to kind of make you a slave again. So they're going to want to do, oh, you got to raise taxes. Oh, you got to pay more taxes, or they're going to demonize you and call you a communist or something, or a rebel. They'll just make up. They'll just make up something to make you a slave and make you a worker. That's always the game. It's always this person with guns or without or whatever. There's always this abuser or this person or thing that always wants to abuse you and make you into doing what they want to make you do what they want you to do versus what you want to do for yourself, right? And you have to like kind of know that about life. And while there's nothing wrong with just working with people and working for people and participating in the system, nothing really wrong with that. You have to basically not really fall for like any of like the weird goofy stuff, like the staged events and the attacks and all the other stuff. Like that's for regular people who are participating fully in the system because they're retarded. Okay, if you don't understand this stuff is like fake and stupid, then you have to be like, okay, how do I now like pay attention? You got to like learn about life, right? Learn about life, or at least join it, like join the slave masters or like whatever. You got to figure out something else, because just being a regular normie person is like your whole life you're basically told what to do: jump, sit down, here, go to lunch at this time, go eat this food. It's just basically, I'm the expert, you don't know nothing, shut up, go take this, what, here or there or whatever, right? Go to take these things and put them inside your body. It's okay to get kidney transplants and all this other stuff, even though you need to take medicine your entire life in order to continue, right? Take out your wisdom teeth. You can operate without one. It's okay if you only have one arm. You can lose an arm. Or you're just making up stuff for you because you don't really know what's going on, right? And the more you don't know, the more this person can kind of steer you and kind of abuse you over and over and over. 1 second here. Like, you got to just understand the game, okay? If you don't understand the game, then you'll really never figure out what's really going on. And not saying everybody has to, because everybody doesn't want to figure out what's going on, okay? But it's just about you being a slave. That's really like the real answer, right? You're just a slave, right? It's all slavery, okay? I used to talk about this a lot on the channel. I hid a lot of the videos because I felt like it was a little negative, but it's just reality. People don't want to admit that, okay? They don't want to admit it. And what do I mean? Okay? Like I said, you can really do whatever you want. But if you're scared to do it, that means you're really not really able to do it, are you? Right? It's just about turning you into a slave. Like that's the game. Okay? That's the game of a bad guy. Whoever the bad guy is, it's about making you into this zombified person who can't think for themselves. So that way, why? They can live off of you. Right? So I think was it years ago? I think in the 1900s there were like trees all over the United States. What did they do? They tore down all the trees, and then started making it where basically you had to go through these particular companies in order to get food. That sound right? Right? It's not really hard to end hunger, but it's not about ending hunger. It's about controlling you. You get it? Like, if you can just plant a bunch of food around the country, right? It's not, you want healthcare, just go start a bunch of healthcare businesses, but I'm pretty sure you wouldn't last that long. depending on how much you wanted to go against the system, because you're now going against the system, right? You have to defeat whoever that business owner is, right? And if you're too soft to pull the trigger, then you're not going to make it, right? There's a whole family dynasty of people that have been doing healthcare for generations and generations and generations of fake science and a bunch of fake stuff. And you're going to come out of nowhere and do it, and then you think they're not going to come after you? They'll probably try to buy you out, but if they can't, then they'll probably kill you. You got to figure out a way to get rid of this person, because they actually figured things out, and now they're actually fixing things, and they're having healthcare. We can't have that because it ruins the power scheme. We're not having any more slaves, so what do? We got to kill this guy, right? That's the game, right? And once you know that, it's like, all right, can you live with it or not? Can you live with it or not? That's the truth. Can you live with this or not, right? Can you just make a lot of money and then sit on your ass and just be happy? Can you do that? You understand? Can you do that? Or do you want to challenge the system? Or do you want to do something else? Okay. People don't really like when I say the truth, because it's not really inspiring. It's not really an inspiring thing. You know what I'm saying? What you're really learning how to do is you're really learning how to be a human. And people don't want to hear that sometimes. They want to hear you're chasing wealth, and you are now you're coming up the ranks of society. Up the ranks? What rank is there? You're just a villager getting food from the woods, which now we have a system which is great, but it's like we could have had plenty of systems. This shit could have been set up right. The reason I'm saying that is because it's a battle for you. It's not really about, it's not really about money. It's about you knowing who's boss. Like, can you live with that? Just being jerked around your whole life, being slapped and telling when you can't, and when you can't go on vacation. You don't know how to feed yourself. By the time you leave, you don't know how to feed yourself. You're ready, you're older, right? You're like me, about to be in your 40s, right? I'm 37. You can't feed yourself. You don't know how to cook because everything's microwavable, or some robot buys it for you. Now AI is thinking for you. What can you do besides be a walking meat suit at that point? You're basically a complete zombified robot. You're a robot without being a robot. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. That's why people can't take care of themselves. They're wondering why it's so hard, because they don't know how to think. That's it. You don't know how to think. You've been abused long enough where you took the one thing God gave you. This. Right? You're going to have to come back to God in order to get this. That's just how it goes. Okay? You can't care about none of this other stuff. Right? That's the game. The game is to just handicap you. So you got to stay in the system and to be a nice cog in the machine. Nice robot. What's that? A slave. Because if you want to leave the system, sure, you can leave. And then they say, well, you'll be back. Why? Because you don't know how to do this shit. Come on now. Like, there's some guy, there's one guy I was talking to. He's a Gen X guy or whatever. Gen X. Man, they beat Gen X down, man. Millennials are like, fuck you a little bit, but Gen X, they beat Gen X down, man. They beat them down. Gen Z too. Millennials are like, in the middle with it. But they beat this guy down, man. Like, all the white guys, man, they beat them dudes down, man. They beat him down, man. I was like, damn, they beat them motherfuckers down. I'm like, dang. Okay. He's like, yo, so what do I do, man? How do I get more money? I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Just leave, right? I remember talking to my old supervisor about it. I'm like, how come you just won't leave the job, man? Like, I don't understand. How come, like, if you want more money, you just leave the job, right? Because I'm like trying to be real and stuff. I'm like, they're like, Carlos, they're like afraid to leave or something. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, why? He's like, oh. He said, you're not afraid. You're like, you're like a flight risk or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not really going anywhere because I don't really want to go anywhere. I like being here. I just like getting paid. Mind my business. I was a good slave. I was a good one. I can admit it, right? Why? Because I got what I needed. I said, all I wanted was $3,000 a month and to be left alone. That's all I really needed. I would have been, I'm on a plantation. Woohoo! I'm a network engineer making my money. I was making up more than that, obviously, right? But the point is that I would have been cool with it. I'm like, hey, look, y'all want to do whatever. Just make sure I'm good. I got my family. I'm working remotely sometimes. I didn't care, man. I didn't care. No, now I've learned that I'll never retire. It's like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, yeah, it's fake, whatever. That's fake. Yeah, 401k. That's what you just tell the dumb people. Oh, right. Okay, so what do I do? Well, I got to do real estate. Okay, so then I start figuring out that. Oh, well, basically, you got to sell real estate to dumb people because they're dumb. Like, real estate is not really that okay business. It's good. It's good under certain circumstances, but that's not the answer. Oh, I got to get, and then I find out about, more entrepreneurship stuff. Okay, this is the answer. Got it. Right. Then I had to figure out about the brainwashing. Then I figure out about positioning and marketing and framing. And then I realize it's all a lie. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do now? I was a happy slave. Now I'm free. Oh my gosh. Right. And I'm just, okay, I'll chug along with the system. Come on. Come on. Right. But at least I'm not taking a salary, because that's like the worst. Right. Which is nothing really wrong with that. But the issue is the willingness to not actually figure out what's going on, which is like the main issue. If you are going to be in a job role, or if you are going to be like somebody like that, right, you're doing this, I do not recommend doing that. I recommend ascending above it. Nothing wrong with having it, of course, but you have to ascend. You got to ascend. This is about ascension, being better, and this is about having your own business and understanding the real game. Okay, because that game is to produce all these workers for entrepreneurs. They're producing slaves so we can be the masters. Unfortunately, that's just how this shit was designed. It's stupid, but that's what's happening. And only the ones that are gonna rise up. It's only the 1 to 10% and the 20% of people that are doing well. I wonder why that is. Master, slave. People don't want to hear it that way. People who know, people who don't know. Insiders, outsiders. People who have been brainwashed, people who have either broke brainwashing, or I think we're having like some storm to clear up some of the smog or whatever's outside. People that have broken the brainwashing, right? And you believe in yourself and you're going to try, or the people the people have broken the brainwashing and they're actually willing to try and all this other, or the people who are fully brainwashed, they're just depressed and now they want socialism and communism, which I don't blame them. I don't blame them. They were deliberately abused. I was abused. I was like that. But I could make up some story where I'm like, oh yeah, it's a part of it, and just suck it up. Nah, no, the shit is difficult. It's not fair and it's not right. What should happen is, hey, if you're going to be in the worker position, here's like a place to sleep, here's some food, and then here's some spending money. And just keep people as happy as possible doing that. If you don't do these behaviors, we're not going to give you money or whatever. Like, okay, great. Like, if you're going to do it that way. If you're going to do it that way. Okay? If you're going to do it that way. Make it so that way people have a chance to discover themselves and be happy. Most people are never going to figure out how to make money and be business owners anyway. Right? Which is not really a big deal. But the issue is that you're making people's lives miserable. And it's like, you don't have to do that. But that's what's going on, right? And the whole game is to continuously make sure that you never figure this out, right? Like, it's just so annoying. Like, it's like really annoying, and you cannot really get sucked into it too much, because then you'll become like the bad person, right? You'll become like a bad person. Like, for example, I think Trump is invading Venezuela or something like that right now. Like, United States, we just fuck up everybody else's stuff, right? That's what we do, right? And I'm not saying not we as in me, but that's just what the leaders of the country do. The leaders, right? They made everybody slaves, and now they say we're the leaders. Now you get like, okay, and I'm like, look, just keep paying me. Like, that's how I've always been this way, and it's like so annoying, because I'm like, I don't really give a fuck what you're doing. Just pay me. But then I got all spiritual, and I'm like, this is wrong. You can't really do it this way. You got to find another way, right? You got to, because normally I'm just like, just pay me. I don't care, right? Just pay me. Normally I'm just like that, right? But I'm a good person, but I'm very easily just take this money and shut up, man. That's how I normally am, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm not ashamed to admit that, man. People are like, that's who I am, right? That's how I normally. I just like, look, man, hey, how much you paying? No, that's not enough, man. Hey, this is like wrong. Okay. How much is it? Okay, all right. Okay, it's not. No, forget what I said. I'm out of here. Right? Now, normally, I'm like that. Stupid. I'm so stupid, man. Um, I'm like that, but you know, sometimes it's just wrong. Like, but once I really learned what was really going on, I'm like, hey, this is like wrong because it's deliberately harming people's spirits and souls, and you're taking them out of alignment and all the other stuff that I learned over the years, right? And it's like evil, and it's evil because you're not getting a chance for people to develop into full adults and humans. Everybody doesn't want to be a business owner anyway, but it's not enough for you to take that opportunity away from people. But it's like even worse because they're trying to make it even more difficult for you to even have the discovery of yourself. Because it's not really about becoming an entrepreneur or the business owner or the master. It's about breaking the program of slavery that they gave you. You know what I'm saying here? It's about breaking the programming. So what happens when you start to have, oh, well, we want healthcare for all and we want babysitting and all this other stuff, which is great. It actually really sounds really good. But you want the government to do it for you. You understand? That's not good. You need to step up and be the entrepreneur yourself and do it. I mean, I could do it, right? I could be the entrepreneur, but it proves that people can't think for themselves anymore. They didn't get the training. They can't take care of themselves. Don't matter if the government is doing it or not. Now, guess what? I mean, you just heard about these motherfuckers eating kids, and you want them to take care of your kids? Well, that was only the Republicans and the Democrats. They're eating kids, man, and you want them to take care of your kids or sponsor it? Like, imagine that. Imagine everybody just forgot that these motherfuckers out here eating kids and shit, man. People forgot. Like, it's some stuff you can't be like this to. It's like, hey, how much y'all paying? Eating kids. Oh, what the fuck? I can't, like, what the fuck? Don't tell me that. What are you doing? Come on. Okay, but the name of the game is to make you so desensitized where you don't really know what's going on anymore. Because that is just abuse at the end of the day. Okay? It's MK Ultra, whatever you want to call it. Abuse, whatever. Right? And you don't gotta challenge the government, stuff like that. Just go out there and defend yourself. Right? Be smart. Be smart. That's all you gotta do. Just try. Try to learn how to defend yourself instead of having the police do it all for you all the time. Try to learn about the law, right? Try to learn about the law that was made up, obviously, right? It's fake, you know. but it's, you know, learn about that. Learn about how to generate income. Learn about how to build relationships with people instead of your job doing everything for you. Learn how to build, you know, these relationships where they're mutually beneficial and how to have boundaries and learn when to say no. Learn how to have a great sexual life, right? A great sexual relationship as well. Learn how to master your body, you know? Learn how to listen to your instincts. Learn how to defend yourself and your family, you know? Learn how to be a leader. These are a lot of things, you know, but it's most people don't never like, you know, figure it out. They're just always, well, you know, they didn't give me a raise this year, so, you know, I mean, this is where I am. Damn, they got you like that. They beat you down that bad. Well, I got to go to work. I got to do what I got to do, right? They got them, you know, going around complaining about the flock cameras. The flock cameras, look at them. They're all watching us. The fuck are you going to do about it? You just going to sit there and complain? Well, how do you feel now? Like there's this one guy. He's grabbed his own flock camera or whatever, and he goes to the flock headquarters like a dummy, and he's like, "I'm recording you. How does it feel to be watched? I just want to show you how it feels." And somebody's like, "Yeah." Like imagine somebody rooting that on. It's like, damn, y'all like that going, huh? Damn, you're that like going. And it's like, what can you really do? People keep saying, "Oh, we're going to lose the country, and it's going to be in fascism," and you're already a slave. Don't you understand? It's already been over for decades and generations. There's people who are capable and people who are not capable. This is why you want to work with the right people to make sure that they're going to lead you to the right place and learn how to take care of yourself, man. And then you can choose what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with having a job. Okay, you can have a job. You can have a business. You don't need to make tons of cash. You don't need to be buy giant cars and nothing like that. The point is that when you're ready to generate income in this system, you can do that. When you're ready to hunt for food, you can do that. When you're ready to plant your own foods, you can do that. But how you gonna do that if you just don't like do anything? You're just sitting there, literally just sitting there, just taking it. I don't know, man. One sec. You know, when I was younger, like I'm 37 now, I'm still young, man. When I was younger though, when I was like in my 20s, I used to hear my mentor, Player Supreme, this dating coach. He used sex magic. He was doing brainwashing. He was doing everything. I'm like, man, this guy's like, okay, this is cool. Meanwhile, now I'm like, oh, that's not really good because it basically lacks integrity. Lacks integrity because he was just about smashing hoes. That's what he was all about, smashing the hoes, right? And he was talking about how you got to put in work and you got to go to the club and talk to girls and how the pickup artists were fake and just all this stuff, right? Like, just he's like, yeah, I don't really make a lot of money. I make like 40,000 a year, but I got my own business though. That's all that matters. Back then, when and he's like, you got to put in the work. Everybody wants everything too quick, this, that, and the other. And like when I was younger, I didn't really understand that because it doesn't really make sense as a young person that everybody's trying to skip everything because you see them smashing, you see them having fun. It looks like people know more than you, and you just feel dumb. And what I've realized later is that nobody actually knows what they're doing. They're just all lying for like no reason. For no reason, they're just lying just to get along to go along, and they're just pretending so they don't get found out. And the more you try to ask questions on like be a serious person, they don't want to really talk to you because they're like afraid or something, or they're going to get found out or whatever, right? Okay. So what I learned was most people, they never figure out how to be a man. They never figure out how to be independent. They never figure out how to take care of themselves. And they never figure out like how to actually challenge the government if you needed to. You don't need to like go in there with guns blazing or nothing. Not that. Just go in there and just like, look, like if I was a flock cameras in my neighborhood or something, right? There's flock. Oh no, there's flock. We're like, what the fuck are you going to do to me? Well, we're going to watch you. Man, shut the fuck up. Well, what do you want a ticket? Shut up. What I'm getting my attorney and I'm suing the shit out of you and I'm suing the shit out of every god dang person that I can sue. I'm suing every fucking body. Why? Because I got the ability to do it. Well, shouldn't you just be, I don't really fucking care what you do to everybody else, but you're not going to fucking harass me. You could take that fruit cup shit. Well, sir, don't you want to be kind? I'm going to have people on my payroll. I don't give a fuck. I don't need money. I want to pay people to leave me the fuck alone. If I got to hire some police to go do something, like, hey, man, go over there and go fuck with this guy for me, please. Yeah, because he's being weird. Being a weirdo. I'm going to put a camera in my neighborhood. Do you want this shit, John? No, I don't want. Exactly. That's what he's doing to the police officers. He's making you wear cameras. Look at him. Look how disgusting he is. Yeah, let's get this guy out of the fucking office. Exactly. You get it? I'm going to do something. Use persuasion, use money, use something. But I've learned enough that basically government is not really an issue. It's normally the people in government. They're like weirdos most of the time. They're like weirdos. So all you gotta do is just get them out of office. It's not really a big deal. Just fire them. If they move to another city, just let people know, like, hey, look, this is who this person is. But you got to be connected. You got to actually try, right? Or you're just going to be a regular person. Hey, I don't like that. I'm going to cut down the flock camera. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You'd be like the stupid guy holding the flock camera. Like, how does it feel to be you for you to be watched? And what is this supposed to do? Now you understand. It's like watching a kid, that don't know shit. You just get the two, they got the square, the thing, the toy where you basically got the star and the square and the circle and shit. And you got to put it in. He's just trying to put the square in the circle, right? Or being like a podcaster and talking about this shit online every day. You won't believe what's happening overseas right now. Whoa, did you see what the president did today? What? Are you dumb? Are you that dumb? It's all fake. How much people got to do to make you say it's fake? I mean, I'm just ranting here a little bit, but like, are you ever going to build the muscle to know that this shit is bullshit? It's just to keep you entertained because you're a slave. You don't know any better. That's the whole thing. You don't know anything. You don't know what's going on. Hey, I just woke up. I'm at work today. Like, okay. Like, bro, like, this shit is like bullshit, right? Like, you just think about it. If I don't work, then what happens? You don't eat? That's how it's supposed to be. Is it? I mean, I could just go to the jungle and, well, if you go there, then, we're going to arrest you. Oh, really? Like, yeah. And then what happens after you're arrested? Now you're an unpaid slave. Right? You got to be able to laugh at this shit, man, because once you know what's going on, it's always just bullying at the end of the day, right? But anyway, my mentor, yeah, okay, I'll try to use a better word than slavery, okay? Okay, I'll try to use a better word. You're a captive. You're captive. You're captive. Okay. The point is that my mentor, he basically said, you want to basically. I never really met him. He was just like an online guy I used to watch, maybe like how you're watching this or whatever. And he's just like, you're going to want to basically build the muscle. You're going to want to go to the clubs and talk to these girls, get used to having conversations with girls, because that's where I was at when I was younger, trying to figure out girl stuff, right? Now I'm like, oh, well, this shit doesn't really fucking matter, right? Because it's not really about that. It's just about getting you out of your head, right? Getting you out of the old programming. That's the game, to get you out of what you think you know on TV, or what your mom told you, right? Or what your dad or whoever else told you. It's about getting you out there into the real world and understanding what's going on. Even now, like, I'm happy in my relationship, so I'm like good, but even if you try to go out there and date, most people are not really that bright. They're happy. They're just like, ooh, wow. Everybody's happy. I'm like, nothing wrong being happy, of course, right? But it's just like, I gotta go to lunch at 2:00 today. At lunch at 2:00. Why? Because that's what my supervisor said. Like, just start a business. Start your own business. Go to lunch when the fuck you want. Like, you get it? You just, okay, I gotta wake up at 8:00. Like, why? Because I gotta, like, you don't know shit. You gotta know something. You gotta know something. Something. Well, you gotta know about like fake stocks or something, right? Nah, man, I'm just crazy. Like, just smiling, huh? Like, what the fuck? my mentor told me, he said, Carl's, he didn't say this to me, but he's like, you gotta work, you gotta basically put in the work. If you put in the work, you'll eventually learn everything you need to know about life. Right? You'll learn what you need to know, but that's what you gotta be focused on. You gotta be focused on the real thing. You can't be focused on just fake stuff. Right? If you focus on fake stuff all the time, you'll never figure out the real thing. People can't figure out how to somehow, like, how do people still have issues with women? Like, it's like hard to understand after a while. It's not because you have money. It's because you know what you're doing. You either know what you're doing or you don't know what you're doing. Women want to be with guys who know what they're doing. They want to be with guys who know what they're doing financially. They want to know what they want to know what, they want to know that you know what you're doing in the bedroom. They want to know what you want to do. They want to know that you know what you're doing financially. They just want to know that you know what you're doing. It's like a sure thing. Like, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's like somehow figured the shit out. And I got him, right? So and then it's like, okay, it's not really just about that too, but you also know how to raise desire, and you know how to seduce her and all the other shit. Like, like, hey, it's not really that fucking hard. Like, women are probably the easiest thing out of everything that you're probably going to have to figure out. But people just don't learn. They don't learn. They never build the muscle, right? If you never build the muscle of learning how to run a business, you got to run a business long enough to be like, all right, this is what I think is going on. Okay, here's what it is, right? You have to build that identity. It takes time. It don't just happen. This stuff does not just happen. It takes time, and you have to be comfortable building that time. You got to build the muscle, learning what's going on financially, who's lying, who's not lying, the reason why they're lying. And people don't really like, the truth. They don't like it. Only certain people like the truth. And these are people who want to be free. You got to choose to be free. It's a choice you got to make. It's not just something that just happens. You got to make the choice every single day. Sometimes I was like, man, I'm probably going to get me a job. And I was like, well, I wouldn't really mind getting a job. But then what's really the issue with the job? It's not really me. It's the other person that's going to try to make me into this slave-like figure. Try to break me down and manipulate me or whatever, right? Like, oh, hey, what are you doing? I coming to work. Right? You're 15 minutes late. Yeah, man, shut up. Well, it doesn't matter what the fuck time I'm here. Even it does matter if you're a regular schmuck, but it doesn't matter if you know what you're doing, right? Yeah. Like, it matters if you're like the front desk person or something else, whatever. But it's like, if you're not, then it's like, look, man, I'm gonna do my time. Shut up, right? But you can't. So, you know what I'm saying? But they want you to be a reliable worker that's there on time. You leave on time. You do what they say. They want you to be a robot, right? They want you to be a robot. You can take lunch at 5. You can take lunch at. I can take lunch at 5. Yeah. What do you mean I can take lunch? I can take lunch whenever I want. I'm saying you can take it at 5 because I'm your boss. Excuse me. I'm your boss. You do what I say. I'm like, oh, forgot they do that. Yes, master. Yes, master. I will go to work. I'll go lunch at 5. Hey, eat this peanut butter and jelly sandwich with us. It tastes good. Okay. Because I want to lose favor. I got to eat the peanut butter and jelly sandwich with them. You get it? It's stupid, man. Life is funny like this, okay? But you're gonna have to build the muscle either way. So financially, relationship wise, boundaries, relationships, friendships, all this stuff. If you do it right and you learn how to do it right, you really won't ever really have problems because you're not really gonna be attached to all this bullshit that you're programmed to be attached to. That's like the game. The game is for you to be attached to the system, to be attached to life, to be attached to the people, these characters on TV, like Mom Donnie or whoever. You know what I'm saying? Or I think I seen one of them Democrat guys. He was, and I'm not a Democrat or a social. I'm just a regular person. I'm just independent. I do not give a fuck about none of this bullshit. Okay, if there's people that don't have health care, go start a business. Right now that I know, if you don't know what to do, you need to ask for help. They got you programmed to not ask for help. You feel me? Like that's like the trick. I didn't understand this stuff because he used to say this shit. He used to say this stuff on his videos. He'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I was around for feminism and I seen it, and this shit was developed and this, that, and the other, blah blah blah." And nobody watched his videos. I did, but you know, feminism and sexism and all the isms and racism. That's like engineered. All this stuff is like engineered to keep you like stupid. So you don't really ask any questions. It somehow works. It somehow works until you get old enough. Once you get old enough, then you're like, oh, all right, this is bullshit. Okay, I'm not. Come on, and you get annoyed because you're still seeing this shit, right? Like, good black teens on the loose in the park, And then there's like some idiot that believed it or whatever, or this guy he was black, and the police camera is always off. Like, eventually you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why is this shit always off? Why is this shit always off? Oh, they attacked them. Like, did they? No, they just killed you on purpose, right? Or whatever. But you gotta know the truth. That's the point. The point is to just know the truth so that way you eventually build the muscle. You can't build the muscle and know what's going on if you are participating in the bullshit. Okay? Nothing wrong with just going to work, minding your business, getting paid, of course, but you're doing that to start your own business. You're doing that to invest in real estate, to be a capitalist, to be a real winner, not to be a fake, like whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the fuck this stuff is. Okay, there's nothing wrong with helping people, but imagine that the government said they got to tax you to get this shit done. That's how you know it's bullshit. It's all fake. All this shit is fake. It's all gay, but you don't really know. Of course, people are going to vote the way they're going to vote. Of course, they're going to vote socialist because they don't know. But it's lame. You got to learn how. You got to build the muscle yourself. You got to learn how to take care of yourself. I talk about it enough. Just save us enough money. There's plenty of people out here teaching, plenty of people out here doing stuff. But if you believe the system and you need a 4-year degree, you need a 4-year degree to work at this job. Like, come on, man. They're lying. They just want you to have a degree, so just to know that you're a proper slave. You did all the right things, right? Yes, meaning you did all the dumb shit. You did all the stupidest things you could do, probably. And now you haven't. Oh, now you'll get a 401k too. I bet. Yes, I will. I will not bet on myself. I will not learn things myself. I will not do better for myself. I'll just continue to go to work, make less money, be in debt my entire life while it goes to immigrants overseas or whatever. Right? And they'll call you a nationalist, they'll call you racist, they'll call you whatever. Like they'll call you like that's the game. The game is whenever you start waking up and you start pointing it out, which you don't point it out, you just learn. That's the game. You gotta build that muscle too. You gotta learn to shut the fuck up. Yeah, okay, I see what's going on. I see the game. Either put me in on the game or I'm out. That's it. I'm not playing this game because it's stupid. I remember one guy got fired at my job because he was a vegan. He got fired at a job because he was vegan. Yeah, he wouldn't eat with the guys. He wouldn't eat the way we had to always order this stupid salad or whatever at the time, which is nothing wrong with being a vegan. But he just had to have his own way. And what happens when you got your own way? You're not a good slave like the rest of us eating slop. You're fired, right? It wasn't like that though, but it's a steady buildup of, look, he thinks he's better than us. Look at him. He's eating vegetables and we got a veggie pizza, right? And they got to joke about it in the office too. Like, damn. All right. You got to come in and be like, what the heck is this? Is veggie pizza veggie? Is everybody in here or something? You got to just, well, that's me. I'm vegetarian. Just do that. It's like, oh, we got him. That's it. You put a target on his back. It's over. Oh my God. I'd be so good now in corporate America. So good now. Not before I knew the game. I'd be fucking with everybody. Because them people do not give a F about you, okay? But you got to build the muscle, okay? And I get it. It's the part of building civilization, trying to make sure things are cool and simple or whatever. But the amount of brainwashing, this does not have to be that bad, okay? It does not have to be that bad. The amount of engineering does not have to be that bad. But you just got to build the muscle, man. You got to learn how to take care of yourself. When you do, you'll just be happy the whole time. You'll be happy just getting through this bullshit, just like anybody else. It's not really a issue. You make your money. You're making 20, 40, 50K a month, 100K a month, maybe millions of dollars. What are you going to do with the money? Nothing. You're going to just look a little bit nicer than everybody else. You're going to dress a little bit nicer. But everybody else not going to know shit, and you do know stuff. That's it. But at least you'll know. Well, I'll just get back on my feet. Oh, this happened. 'Cause think about it. Nobody's thinking. So if nobody's thinking, how are you ever have issues as an entrepreneur? They don't know how to think. They literally don't know how to think. They literally don't know. And I'm not being an asshole here, but that's the point. Take my hard-earned money and put it into 401k so some guy can fuck it off. You don't even know the guy's stupid because you don't know. You can't tell. You know what I'm saying? That's the part. You can't even tell. That's like the worst part. You're looking right at him, just like, okay, he seems right. He got a dress shirt and he's got pants and the Bitcoin. If I just multiply by 10x, you just start putting the shit together that don't make sense because you don't know reality yet, but it makes sense because you don't know shit. And once you start knowing, you're like, what the? Because when you know, it's different. Right? I'll tell a quick story and I'll close out because this video's going kind of long, whatever. Anyway, right? Even though I'm ranting a little bit. I had a friend, right? I got a friend. His name is, I'm not gonna say his name, but he basically we were like talking about this house that he wanted to sell, and he's a little bit new to positioning and framing and stuff like this. Even though he's very good at what he does, he's a little new to it. And I was like, well, look, I'll give you some money if you give me something in return, because he needed some money to borrow to do something. I was like, yeah. I was like, well, I just need like $500 a month. I'm not really going to lend any money unless it's going to be like $500 a month. He's like, well, I can just do an interest only loan for whatever. He's like, no, well, if it's $500, then I want to do something else. But if I want to do $100, he said, or like $200 a month. I'm like, bro, I'm not going to lend you money for $200 a month. He's like, why not? I'm like, bro, what the fuck am I going to do with $200 a month? What am I going to do with that? He's like, well, it's like this much percentage. And, he came up with all this other stuff. And I'm like, that's what you tell like poor people, man. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, that's what you tell poor people that don't know shit. You tell them about percentages and you tell them all this other stuff. So that way they go buy because it makes sense to them. I'm doing 4% on my money because the government does inflation of the 5%. And I'm like, none of this shit matters, man. How much money am I getting in return? That's the only thing that matters. And then if I'm going to get some money in return, How much is it going to be to interest me? Because making $200 a month is not interesting to me. Making $500 a month is interesting. The question is how much do I have to give you in order to make $500 a month? And if it's too much, then it's not going to be interesting. These things have to be talked about. You have to learn the muscle. I learned basically how to lend money as well, right? So I've learned basically every aspect about business that I could, even acquisitions and stuff like this. Like, and I just taught myself over time, and it's not really that hard. The hard part is that there's so many people lying and faking that you never actually really know like what's real. Okay, it's just deal making. You have to know a topic well enough to know how to switch things and twist things and organize things. But if you don't know how to think, you won't be able to do that because it's too much of a muscle you have to build in the first place. Okay, I mean, you could just hire somebody like me or whatever, which is fine. But the point is that you have to get comfortable building the muscle for yourself, so that way you know how to at least hire an expert. Okay, so you don't have to be a slave, right? Because the other guys you're giving your money to, they're just gonna mess it up on purpose because that's the game. Like you ever find it interesting that Elon Musk magically raises all this money and loses it, or Jeff Bezos raises all this money and loses it, or these other people randomly raise all this money and lose it? Why do you think that they can just do that? Because you don't know what's going on. If you knew what was going on, you'd be like, no, this is a bad deal. I'm not lending it. Or you say, oh, this happens like a lot and it seems like a scam. So no, I'll do something I can control and that I understand. You know, the stock market goes up like every year though. It goes up in the S&P and in the 401ks. It goes up every year in the real estates. You know, it's just fucking with you, man. And it's messed up. You know, I may have to hide this video because it's like too serious, but you know, you got to just you got to be comfortable building the muscle of knowing the real thing, right? If you're going to be smashing, which you should be doing it healthily and getting with a partner that you care about and love, you hopefully build a relationship with them, right? You want to have kids, you know, hopefully you want to do that the healthy way. But if you're going to be doing that, you need to be able to build your discipline in the bedroom. You need to build discipline financially. You need to build discipline. Not even discipline. Just know what the fuck you're doing. Everybody hates a person who doesn't know what they're doing. They're just lying the whole time. Just the whole time, just lying. Like, for what? You don't have no reason to lie. You have no reason. There's no reason to lie. Stop. You know, just stop it. Tell the truth, please. Okay. It's okay if you don't know, because I didn't know. And it took me a long time to build the muscle, man. It took me a long time to build these muscles. And I got fat because of it. I used to be very in shape and, you know, probably a little more understanding. Now I'm just like an old grumpy asshole because that's what it turns you into over time. You just start being like, what the fuck is going on? Anybody who sounds like that, they probably know what's going on because they're going to sound grumpy. People are going to say all kinds of, you're a monster, you're this, you just be like, shut the fuck up. Go to your job and shut up, right? Nothing wrong with a job too, but it's how you look at it. It's how you look at the job. Like there's this one guy on YouTube. I think I played a video. YouTube is like a job. You know, you go and you put in your time and your content, and then the YouTube pays you with the algorithm monies. And if you say the wrong thing at your job, then they shut your account down. I'm like, damn, they got this. They got him. They got this one. This motherfucker got 300,000 subscribers and not making shit because they got him brainwashed. And he can't figure it out. He just can't figure it out. He don't know he's brainwashed. That's the whole thing. Everybody's brainwashed. Literally everybody, literally almost everybody's brainwashed except the people who know what they're doing. Anybody having like real issues is brainwashed. Like you can have issues and then like get over them and stuff like this, right? You can have that because that's just a part of the process. You have the issues and you get over it. You're a fighter. You're going to try to get through it. If you're having issues over and over and over and you're just brainwashed because you don't know how to think yet. That's really it. You got to be steered into the right thinking pattern. As you get to the right thinking pattern, which is an identity of who you're going to become in the future, you're then going to become this assholey version of yourself where you're going to be like, hey, this is all stupid. There's no point in even doing this. And I'm just wasting my time even talking about it. And you'll be an asshole from that point forward for the rest of your life, like me, right? Okay. I'm a nice guy, but I'm a nice person. I'm actually very giving. I'm a kind person. I care about people. I love God. I love people. But I'm not afraid to tell the truth, which makes you an asshole. You know, that's why you just can't say nothing. You just gotta be quiet the whole time. Like, don't say nothing. You never say nothing. You don't say anything. You just sit there. You say anything, they got you. Hey, something's different about this guy. What's going on here? How do you have money? What's going on? Why are you working at this job? I'm just here. I just like working. You just like working. What the fuck is that? Like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Damn it. There goes my job. Dang, now I got to go find somewhere else. Like, because you got to find the right script to be around a bunch of brainwashed people, because they're going to find out you're not brainwashed. They're just going to hate on you for no reason, just for existing. Because they got to follow a system. They got to follow the brainwashing system. You don't. You just wake up and show up like this. Everything happens for you. You're winning. You're happy. For them, they got to, okay, I got to tap dance over here. Okay, I got to jump twice. And think, like, you don't got to do all that. If you just know what you're doing, all you got to do is show up and be your best self and know how to think and build the muscle, because you'll know how to think. You know? Anyways, that's the video, man. Be comfortable doing a real thing long enough, okay? It gets nervous. It gets nerve-wracking. It's scary a little bit, especially when you're younger. You don't really know what's going on. If you're older, you can still feel like you don't know shit. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what the fuck's going on sometimes, right? I'm like, what the, you know? It's just what it is. Yeah. It's just what it is. Sometimes you don't know, and it's okay you don't know. But you got to be like, all right, like, what the fuck's going on? You got to find somebody you can trust, man. And when the truth, you know, the truth will set you free, man. You know, whether it's women or life or money, you know, it's all the same shit at the end of the day. Just have some boundaries, know what's going on, and don't waste your time. Most people are just going to waste your time, you know, and people want to try to make it seem like you're supposed to be this nice, kind person and help everybody. No, you can't. You got to help the right people. Okay. So by helping the right people, not everybody. Okay. Anyway, that said, I'm going to go take a nap. I'm taking an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are known for taking naps. You may not believe that. They won't tell you, but it's real. Everybody probably has like a cot or something to do, because there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do but really work. And people tell you to work hard, and that's not really the answer. It's just about relationships. But if you believe the lie, then, you know, you're going to be working your ass off at your job when you should be working as an entrepreneur. That's what they're really talking about. Like, work hard as an entrepreneur. That's the full sentence. Work hard. Yeah, it's about hard work as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a person who develops relationships and builds society and does all this other stuff that you're partaking in. But if you think, if I just work harder as a regular worker, oh, yes. Then 5 years later, you're like, they said work harder. Oh, I meant as an entrepreneur. I didn't mean like a regular guy, man. What are you doing? And then you fall for it. Now they got you. Right? Anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. This little random rift. I got a couple videos I'm watching right now, and it just reminded me. I'm like, damn, people don't really understand what's going on. You know, just like how they're stealing all the water right now. They're stealing all the water with these AI data centers and all this other bullshit. They're stealing the water. Why? So they can sell it back to you, because it's all bullshit. Okay, it's all bullshit. Once you know that, you can be like, all right, here's what's going on. Do I want to participate or not? Right? Build the muscle. Okay.